everybody. Welcome to the Whitsundays. As Roxy said, my name's Fiona. I'm the Queensland Parks and Wildlife Marine Park Ranger here in the Whitsundays. And today I just want to talk to you a bit about our patch, our area, what there is to do, what there's to see, things not to do, and basically the way that you can just make the most out of your time here in the Whitsundays. I'm sure most of you being yachties, some of you probably live here, some of you might be visiting, some of you might have just arrived and haven't been out on the water. Have all of you been out around the Whitsunday Islands so far? Everyone been out? Awesome. So you'll probably know a lot about what I'm talking about, but I might be able to, hopefully you can take home some information that just places you didn't know about or places that you can go and see in the future. Okay, so on your seats, guys, there's a guide called the Whitsunday National Parks Journey Guide. Looks a bit like this. And it's a really valuable guide of just telling you exactly what there is to do in the Whitsundays. It's not only about the islands, but it also includes the national park walks and things on the mainland. And if you go to page 4 and 5, this will come up. And it's a really great map just to show exactly where the different national parks are. It then details to a map within the book, so you can see a closer up of each area, where the campgrounds are, where the walks are, where the day use areas are. And it's just a great tool to help you navigate the Whitsundays to make sure you see the best bits. So there's a key at the bottom as well, and that key relates to all the different maps throughout the guide, so you can see what amenities are where. If you want to go to a campsite that has a toilet, it will tell you where it is and where they have them and where they don't. So use this guide to take it home with you, take it on the boat with you, and hopefully it will get you to the places you need to go to. Being boaties, I'm sure you've all used our public moorings in the Whitsundays, and there's plenty of them. At the moment we have 192 public moorings in the Whitsunday region. We have some funding come through, and we're in the planning stage to hopefully add another 40 of those over the next year or so, which would be great. These moorings allow you to safely park your boat overnight or for a period of time without causing any damage to the reef or the seabed, and it provides a safe anchorage for your vessel overnight. There's 5 types on this sticker. We've got some stickers at the back if anyone wants them. Only lists 4. We have a new type, which is our PT class moorings, and we just actually put 31 of these in around the Whitsundays. These moorings are little ones, so they're a bit like the brown tender moorings, but what you can do is they can be used for watercraft up to 6 metres in length. So for example, your tender off your boat, you can pull that and moor that up onto those moorings, and they can also be used by commercial vessels up to 12 metres in length. So these moorings are located in areas of good snorkelling spots, places to see, parts where you might easily need to get to shore, and they're strategically located around the Whitsundays for use. So if you see them out there, feel free to tie your tender up to them if you need to get to shore or have a snorkel at those different spots. We've also recently put in some new RPMs. So RPMs are the reef protection markers. You might have seen these out there, a little up there in the corner, a little white triangle of buoy. And when you see these, it's best just to mark an imaginary line between these buoys in the bay, and that marks off your basically no anchoring zone. So you can't anchor closer to the bay within those buoys, and that just protects the fringing reef around the islands. Alright, so also with the moorings, each one, like I said, is different colour. Just a bit of mooring courtesy is use the mooring that is most suited to your vessel. So if you've got a smaller vessel, don't use the biggest mooring, because it then just allows the bigger vessels not to be able to use it. So use the one that's most suited and that's available for you. And just on the tags on these moorings, there's details on how long you can stay, the rules and regulations. So have a look at that when you pull the mooring up, and make sure you stay within those marks. We're constantly upgrading our moorings. Like I said, we've just recently put in 31 new ones. We're going to be putting in more. So at the moment, you might have 100 magic miles on your boat. You might have these guides. Take them home with you. They're not always completely up to date with all the moorings because we're constantly improving them. So a really good resource on where to find some information is on on the internet. That's where we keep it completely up to date. So if you pop into Google Whitsunday moorings, it's the first or second result, goes to the Queensland Government website, and that will take you, and it's got individual maps for every bay in the Whitsundays and Mackay region. It's a bit like this one here. It will show you exactly where your anchoring area is, where the moorings are, what colours they are. So if you have signal out and about, or you know where you're going to be going, maybe have a quick look at the maps before you get there. It's coming up to that time of year when our favourite friends are in the area, our winter whales. So they're coming in and they're going to be migrating up through the area where they calve and they hang out and they put on a show for us. So there is a few bits of regulations and things to be aware of when regarding the winter whales. So any vessel needs to be 300 metres from a whale, and that just provides safety for not only the whale's calf, but also for yourself. So if you are out in the boat and you find yourself with a whale breaching in front of you, fantastic, lucky you, awesome. But do try and then manoeuvre your vessel away and keep 300 metres before you continue to wash, just to keep giving those whales some space while they're here. And enjoy their show. They might just be resting on the surface, they might be breaching, they might be teaching their little ones how to flap their flippers or jump up in the air, and they're fantastic. It's a really special moment. If you haven't seen them here, between sort of now, or probably a couple, June to September time is the perfect time to get out and about and see them. So definitely get out there and have a look, and just keep in mind your distances from the whales, because you don't want one coming up too close to your boat, and they don't want to come up right next to your boat either, so keep that in mind. So around the Whitsundays we have heaps of short walks. Has anyone here done any of the short walks in the Whitsundays? Yeah, a couple of you. Awesome. So most of these walks are generally class 3 or below, so they're fairly easy, they're not that strenuous, and most of them are maximum about 300 metres in length. So nice and easy, and they all offer a fantastic and unique view out over the Whitsundays. So this first one at the top corner here, we've got Chalkies Beach. So this is a really short little walk, heads up through the veg and comes out to a lovely lookout at the top and looks over Chalkies Beach. You can see down to Whitehaven, you can see the fringing reefs, and it's a beautiful little spot to hang out on a nice sunny afternoon. In the middle there we've got Langford Walk, and Langford boasts some of the biggest Whitsunday bottle trees in the area on this walk. So you get up to the top and you're surrounded by them, and it's a completely different vegetation type to walk through than a lot of the other walks in the Whitsundays. Next one on the far right is Border Island. So Catherine Bay, at the base of Catherine Bay you've got Border Island Walk, and it goes up to the saddle of Border Island. You can look over to the other side. Great spot for spotting turtles from the lookout at the top there. Again, a nice easy walk through the grasslands. And in the bottom here we have, most of you probably know, South Whitehaven Lookout, which is a fairly new, went in I think about 3 years ago now, and it's another short walk from South Whitehaven. It's a fair few steps to get up there. I think I counted it once, 530 steps. So it's a bit of a walk, but it's definitely worth the view when you get up there. It's just stunning. So these walks are great, just if you've got an afternoon, something to do, get out and see a view. It's beautiful. When you are visiting these islands and doing these walks, one other thing to remember is be pest free. That's a bit of our slogan. If you've been walking on another island or on the mainland and you might have some seeds or some bugs or ants and things on your bags or your shoes, just make sure before you disembark your boat that your shoes are clean and your bags are free of any seeds or dirt and things like that. It just stops any invasive weeds, any pest species being transferred onto the islands that are currently pristine. Walking tracks. So along with the short walks, we have some longer walks. So you guys might have heard the main two are going to be the Cairn and the Peak. Both these walks are on Whitsunday Island. The Peak is the tallest one, that's the highest point on Whitsunday Island. And the Cairn is on the far right there, the big rock at the top as you come through Hook Passage, you might have seen it. These two are both class 5 tracks, so they are a little bit more challenging, but 100% worth it when you get to the top. That reward at the end, that view is just beautiful. We also have South Mole Island, which is one of my favourite spots. The walking tracks on South Mole and spread about 14 kilometres throughout the island. These days you can take mountain bikes on the tracks on South Mole, so e-bikes as well if anyone has them. It's a great spot to explore through the grasslands, through a bit of the rainforest and the trees. Again, the views are stunning, up and down from the beaches and all sorts of spots, so definitely make the most of the walking tracks around the island. We have one in progress at the moment, some of you may have heard, the Nara walking track, which is our multi-day hike. It's going to be open, hopefully, it's due to open in 2024. This is a 32 kilometre walk, so it's a couple of day hike. I was actually out on the track this week and had the chance to walk it for the first time the whole way through, and it is stunning. So once it's completed, and it'll have campsites along the way, it's something I would really recommend. It flows through lots of different vegetation types. The views are second to none, unique. You haven't seen the Whitsundays from that angle before, and it is just stunning. So that's something we've got to look forward to in the time. We also have day use areas dotted around the Whitsundays, so if you just need somewhere to get off the boat, chill, sit on a beach in some shade, and just take some time, learn some information. There's lots of information and boards with details about the area, each of these. Up here we've just got a couple of examples. One is the far right is Tongue Point, and this one here is South Whitehaven day use area. So great little spots just to hang out if you're in the area. Now a lot of people wonder what we as rangers do in the area. A lot of people say, what do you actually do? What's your job? We don't necessarily see you all the time. And we're out there every day. There's 17 of us here in the Whitsundays in the Marine Park unit, and our patch runs from Cape Upstart, Bowen area, down to south of Mackay, all the way up to the outer reef. So we cover a fair bit of ground, which is why you may not always see us. And we do a range of different jobs in the Whitsundays. So I've just got some photos here which I'll run through with you just to explain the sort of thing we do and what we're doing when we're out working in the park trying to conserve and protect it. So the top here is on Moorings Island down off Seaforth, and there's the new toilets we put in just earlier this year. The old toilets were in an area which when we had heavy rain, subject to a little bit of flooding. So these new ones are nice and fresh and really great. So if you're in the area, pop in and have a look. Walking tracks, we're constantly on the walking tracks clearing them. We get lots of trees falling down, and I can imagine after the winds we had last night, there's probably a lot more down. So I think we're going to have a busy few weeks. So we're out there on the walking tracks clearing them, making sure they're safe and accessible for everyone walking in the area. We're out on the reef. We do reef health impact surveys, which monitors the health of the corals and what sort of species we've got, and benthic surveys. Krista will go into a little bit more about reef things later on. We do mooring maintenance, so like I said before, the 192 moorings we have in the area, each one needs to be maintained and monitored and check that it's in a secure and good condition for your lovely boats. We don't want any of those boats drifting off. So each year, each mooring gets checked 3 times, and we're constantly out there maintaining those as well. The top corner at the end there, last year we ran a project out at Great Reef where we did a reef restoration site. So at the stepping stones near Great Reef, I don't know if any of you are aware of it, was quite heavily impacted by Cyclone Debbie in 2017. The bed was just broken coral, dead rubble, and that's all it was at the moment. So we went out, we worked with Mars, as in Mars Bars, the chocolate company, and they've been working on this restoration style for the past 10 years, mainly doing a lot of work in Indonesia where they do dynamite fishing. And it uses a hexagonal steel frame which is dipped in limestone. These frames then interlock together. 15 coral fragments are then attached to each frame, and then these grow over time. So we've put in 200 of those frames out at Great Reef alongside a different technique called a coral clip. So up the bommies where we used to have lots of fantastic coral, which is now sadly gone, we've nailed in and clipped on little bits of live coral that are attaching onto the bommie and and growing. So this is just one of the initiatives that we're using to try and help restore areas of reef that have since been damaged by cyclones, coral bleaching, crown of thorns, starfish, all sorts of reasons. At the bottom there, we also do planned burns along the islands. So these are to reduce the chances of wildfire by minimising the amount of fuel that's on the forest floor. It also helps keep the diversity in the ecosystems. So you may be out there and you might see a bit of smoke coming off one of the islands. The best way to know whether that's us or it's a wildfire or it's something that shouldn't be happening is to jump on the Parks website called Parks Alerts, and it will tell you there if we're planning any burns and if we've got anything going on, or just give us a ring. There's smoke coming, is it you? And we'll be able to let you know what's going on. We also do lots of other things, a bit more of us track clearing, muddy and getting messy. Recently an osprey was found caught in a hoop pine at Hook Passage. It had picked up a fisherman's lure and had it caught in its foot and had gone up to its home tree, and where the fishing line had got tangled, it was hanging upside down. Some of our rangers were out and saw it, got some local arborists off Hamilton Island, took them back to the area. The arborists climbed the trees, rescued the osprey. It was brought back to the mainland where it was in rehab for a few days to fix its foot, and was then taken back out to its spot where this is Ranger Megan releasing it back, and it flew straight up into the same tree, so it would have been its home tree where it was resting there. We also do lots of infrastructure maintenance, mowing, and in the middle there, Eshelby Island. I don't know if many of you know of it. It's a pink zone, so probably no one's gone there. It's a very protected island, and it has is a nesting bird site, sea bird site. So each year we go out and monitor these birds and check that their numbers are still as high as they need to be and are improving, and that the island is kept in a place that's just perfect for their nesting needs. So there's a couple of things going on around the park at the moment, just so you are aware of. Grimston Point toilet block is going to be closed until the end of May, which isn't too long now. It's getting some refurbishments, so just note that. The Dugong Sawmill track at Sid Harbour is also going to be closed until the 17th of June. That's having some track upgrades done to it. And we have a couple of planned burns planned for the next coming months, one on St Bees, one on Holborn, Gloucester, Sid Island, Henning Island, Lynn, Carlisle and Cockermouth Island as well. So if you see any smoke in those areas, you know that's just us. Like I said before, for any updates on closures in the parks, just pop into Google Queensland Park Alerts, scroll down the list to the Whitsunday area, and it will have any updates of what we're doing in the park that may have any changes on you. One other thing, in the back here I have a little sheet, so if anyone does want to sign up to our newsletter, the Whitsunday Marine Parks, we send a newsletter out 3 times a year. So if you want to know updates on what we've been doing, exciting things happening in the park, things like that, please pop your name and email address down on the end, and we can add you to the list and you can get the information. One other thing, just before I go, guys, at the back is some of those brochures. We've got lots of paperwork on the table, so help yourself. We've also got a heap of the zoning guides. So I'm sure you're all aware there's different zones around the Whitsundays, green zones where you can't fish, and different rules and regulations of what you can and can't do. These are great just to have on board as a quick guide to where you are. Most chart plotters and things these days will have them detailed on them, as well as the Eye on the Reef Act, which Crystal will talk about shortly. But again, an invaluable piece of information just to have on board with you as well. Awesome. Thank you so much for listening, guys.